when money was appropriated for the border wall, I tried to get them to reappropriate, to redirect that money. They didn't. They wouldn't. And in the meantime, there's nothing under the law other than they have to use the money for what it was appropriated. I can't stop that.
Do you believe the border wall works?
No.
Welcome back to America Decides. That was President Biden defending his administration's plan to waive several environmental laws to add to the U.S.-Mexico border wall. That's something the president promised would not happen while campaigning in 2020. Several Democrats criticized the move, including former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke. He calls it, quote, a wasted opportunity to use executive power to actually fix our asylum system instead of impotent political posturing. Chuck Rocha and Daniel Garza join us now. Chuck is a Democratic strategist and president of the Solidarity Strategies Group. He previously served as a senior advisor to Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont in his 2020 presidential campaign. Daniel is the president of the conservative grassroots organization, the Libre Initiative. Good to have you both here. Thank you. Chuck, we'll begin with you. There's been criticism of President Biden's decision. You have worked on this front for a long time. What's your assessment of it?
You know, the community came together today and we were talking about this, and I think I'm really happy that the president got out in front of this and said, look, this is a legislative activity. The money had already been appropriated. Do I agree with the decision? No, but there was nothing he could do to stop it.
Let's listen to what Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, had to say.
We believe that we need border technology that is modernized and land ports of land ports of entry, and that's what we want to see. And that's what I can speak to. And this is something that we were required by law, and we are complying. This is an administration that does believe in the rule of law.
This is an administration that believes in the rule of law. That was from Karine Jean-Pierre from the Biden administration. Daniel, where are Republicans on this and conservatives as they see the president moving in this direction?
Well, look, I mean, you're seeing the Biden administration seemingly declare an about face on the border wall. But today, they're saying that, of course, it's not necessarily the case that they are pushing for a border wall. And it's almost like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, and the incoherence is dizzying. They're trying to appease two competing factions in their party. The blue city mayors and some governors who, of course, have been very vocal. Republicans are seeing that, of course, and they've been, of course, driving the argument that we need border security. But they're playing a clever game here of duplicity and sophistry that will, I think, only end bad. Whatever it is, they're kind of late to the party. This has been sort of essentially turned into a half measure. I mean, what's the point of securing the border with a wall if Biden is allowing migrants to game the asylum system by, migrants can merely claim that they're, seeking asylum, whether they qualify or not, and then they're flown to their city of choice and given resources. It's just the crisis is worsening, and they don't know what to do. They're incompetent.
Chuck, what's your view of what Daniel had to say?
Well, first of all, we should know that the immigration system can be fixed in the Congress, and they do nothing. And they're in control. They should be fixing the problem. It highlights all the things that are going wrong. There's not just one thing wrong at the border. There's lots of things been happening with the border. As you know, Rob, we've been talking about this and covering this for a long time. I own a Latino-owned political consulting firm. I've hired over 125 young Latinos over the last 10 years who work in these nonprofit fields, and nothing ever seems to happen around this broken system. So it keeps adding on to each other. And then you start seeing when there's surges or when there's something that's happening with the environment, and then you see this thing that we're not prepared to handle all at one time. So is it a wall? Is it technology? I think the home congressman who represents this part of the country said it best today when he said we're using a 14th century fix to try to fix a 21st century problem.
Let's go back in time a little bit and listen to what then candidate Biden had to say about this issue during the 2020 campaign.
There will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration. I'm going to make sure that we have border protection, but it's going to be based on making sure that we use high-tech capacity to deal with it.
So that was then candidate Biden running for president in 2020. Daniel, how is this issue going to factor into the next campaign in 2024?
Oh, very much so. Look, I agree with Chuck when he talks about, Congress has to step up. They have the responsibility of dealing with this issue, and they have, pushed on it. The solution was to work with Republicans to reform also the asylum system, to build out infrastructure, increase the number of judges and caseworkers. while still, of course, honoring due process here, people need to know immediately whether they qualify and not be allowed into the country willy-nilly. The Border Solutions Act would have done that. This administration, during the campaign, candidate Biden had promised that he was going to reach across the aisle and work with Republicans to reconcile their differences between legal channels and border security. Never did that, never convened anybody to the White House, and we're still waiting. Look, I think there is a role for a wall. The wall does have an important and urgent purpose. In 2019, there were 0 encounters with suspected terrorists. This year alone, there's been 151. The wall would have helps with that. And then, of course, there's certain cartel activity that operates outside of the asylum process. Of course, human trafficking, narcotics, weapons contraband, and other nefarious businesses. The wall would help with that. So there are other policies that we can do besides the wall, like Chuck says. I agree with that. That is going to factor in big time in this next election because, look, I know they've been bleeding. The Democrats have been bleeding Latino voters in South Texas because of this issue. And it can no longer be ignored, and I think that's why he's stressing this action.
Chuck works with so many Democratic voters from the Latino community. Is Daniel right? Is President Biden, Democrats, will they pay a cost politically for this decision?
The election's coming up, and that's what you're going to see a lot of talk about immigration. But it's different when you're talking about these Midwestern states or battleground states for the president as compared to Nevada and Arizona. Texas won't be a presidential battleground state in this election cycle, but the issue of immigration that Daniel brings up is very, very important to lots of different voters in different areas. We find where our voters interact with immigrants, they have they're more comfortable with it. But when you're talking about the Midwest, they're not as near as comfortable.
Chuck Rocha and Daniel Garza, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us for a conversation.
A pleasure.